the way, do you realize, Evelyn, do you realize that if Kenyans actually stood on their ground and said we are not going to entertain the nonsense of politicians, this country's change. But the problem is that we keep entertaining these guys. They come with these ujinga and later we are there. You talk about BBI, we don't attend rallies. Their children don't go to rallies. We are the ones who do not. So you cannot attend this and then wake up tomorrow and say, para unatuambia BBI. Who is this? Who is on this?
You know, Bitok, another problem
is
that kama Kenyans tumekaa kama hatuna msimamo. Leo utapata Emily hapa anasema yeye hataki mambo ya BBI. Usiku nakuja naona na kitu kidogo, kesho naamka nikiiba wimbo mwingine. So the question here is that we do not have a stand? Is that we don't know what we want? Or is that we are ready to get into any train?
I think Kenyans don't know what they want, or that they don't know what they want, or only give up. Neza call it free. Because there are things you try to understand, you can figure out. These are the same guys who are complaining on social media every day. But they still run up and gang up, behind their political
Even
goals.
Our leaders. Today you'll find a leader who is saying, I am not for BBI, or I am for BBI. Then tomorrow morning, they wake up with another song. If they were against the BBI, then they wake up saying, it is the best thing Kenyans can have. So it's like, as Kenyans, do we really know what we want? Na tuko na msimamo, and why can't you kusimama na hiyo msimamo wako despite jana uliletewa milioni ngapi?
So it's a very sad state of affairs. But anyway, Wakenya ni shauri yenu. Mimi nawaambianga hata sitaki kujua. Mpitishe BBI msipitishe. Mfanya nini ni shauri yenu. Maisha ya kila mtu inaendelea, kila mtu umie kivyake. Lakini ni sawa kwa sababu ujinga ndio tuko naye kwa Kenya, tulizaliwa naye. Philip Pimo anasema good morning very locked. Mwema Steve Mwema anasema Michael Mutheu Phil MC Alala tundi na maamusha watu and Henry Bon anasema serikali yenye mnatuimbia kumira ndio hiyo sasa, kila mtu apambana na hali yake. Haya, Chris anasema general this country is sick. It's very sick. Izar Shakim kijana wangu mwenyewe anasema good morning. Monoro Shuni anasema good morning team Tako love the show. Kisumu asante sana kutoka Kisumu. Malika Silas watu wa diaspora wanasema the baba deserves a good tip. Anapatanga nampeanga kakitu juu. Elias Langana anasema tuned from Eldoret to locked though this government should be dismantled and everyone to go home. Ibomolewe kama daraja nasikia bomolewe ile alikoni after 2025. Hii serikali inafaa ibomolewe kabisa. Gabriel anasema morning from Canada, we need to revisit. Tarus 2 anasema morning team to watching from Eldoret. Asante sana Mosi Tonish anasema aliyewaroga wa Kenya ako forest, tafuteni yeye kabla ajafa. Kenyans you are on your. Huyu alishakufa, alijinyonga huyo. Sasa morning from Sydney asante sana. Mwenye alituroga alikufa tayari. Tungara tuseme atuombea tusamee. Inaanza huyo alishaenda. Huyu ndio. Kibroti Brian anasema good morning watching live from Kilifi. Asante na watu wa Kilifi. Nicole Chebian anasema when I saw Raila's comments about doctors, I felt it's right for him to lose elections every time. By the way, Raila alisema be more understanding. Some of the medics be more understanding. We have bigger problems in this country.
Understand
now.
About
COVID is now, as in we should understand that watu na pressure sana kuitisha hii mshahara yao. Kenya iko mahali mbaya, uchumi ni mbaya. Tunapambana na corona.
What you don't know is that beside high being Dr. Love, I'm also
daktari wa mapenzi,
fundi wa mapenzi mwenyewe. Besides that, I'm also in the front line when it comes to COVID issues. Yeah, I'm working in a COVID center. And when we hear leaders saying that we need to understand, when people are going for 5 months without a salary, how do you pay your bills? And also there are some facilities where you go and you find there are no PPEs. And you see, with the medics, they are the people who on daily basis are handling the COVID-19 positive patients. Yes. What is there to understand if I do not have PPEs?
PPE.
What is there to understand kama hakuna salary? Because these people have bills to pay. So to me it's like
anasema serikali iko busy, kuna mashughuli mingi sana.
But the question here is what is the priority? What is the priority?
So how do you feel as a frontline elder? Kabla tujaenda kwa mambo ya mapenzi.
To me, I'll say it is not fair. And also seeing fellow healthcare workers who are dying as a result of COVID-19. You know, here kuna ule mtu alijiexpose akaambukizwa, but kuna huyu healthcare worker aliambukizwa kwa sababu yeye alienda kutibu, alienda kuando wale wagonjwa wako COVID-19 positive. Hata serikali kidogo, hata insurance ya health, they should do something. And then again it's like prioritizing. What is our priority here?
Anyway, sawa, naona chapter para maritim anasema amen. Asante sana Zazare Evans Felix anasema Sere Morin scholar na mamusho anasema salute people. Saliba kama unajua healthcare worker tag them here and salute them. I'll read out the comments. Kama unajua any health care worker, niambie hapo jina yake ni gani, mtag hapo, alafu uniambie anafanya kazi wapi, alafu tuweze kumpea shout out na tuambie kwamba tuko pamoja. Alpha ngulanga sema Gerald, nasikia tu nimechoka na hii Kenya. When is the next night loss migration nirudi kwetu? Mimi nilisema tu wauze, alafu kila mtu apewe kitu yake, amwe mahali atanunua shamba. Hii Kenya iuzwe, ifije auction, alafu kila mtu apewe kitu. Mwangi wa Sami, mheshimiwa mwenyewe anasema greetings from Texas Laikipia County. Asante sana, thank you so much mheshimiwa Mwangi wa Sami. Watu wa Laikipia mko na kijana mwepesi sana, so lazima muangalie mambo yake pale Laikipia. Mwangi wa Sami mwenyewe, thank you so much. Haya, wacha tuingie kazi kabla hatujasukuma hao watu sana. Wacha nikupe nafasi kwanza ya kuweza kujintroduce sasa kwa ile upande mwingine. Haya.
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Emily Mutheu aka Dr. Love. Fundi wa mapenzi mwenyewe. Ama clinical.
Wewe ndio uko na spana number 17.
Nakwambia.
Ya roho.
Kula kikiumana, hiyo inaitwa bedroom manenos. Unatafuta Dr. Love hapa. Lakini wanasema yangu ni theory. Practical ukafanyia kwako utaleta feedback.
Au pananga practical?
Mimi ni theory. Practical enda ufanyia kwako alafu utaleta feedback. Ama clinical psychologist by profession. A sex therapist too. Yeah.
Okay. Na ulisema wewe unafanya kazi wapi haso?
Pamoja na hii kazi ya ushauri, I'm also working with the Ministry of Health. I'm in a COVID center. Yeah.
Wapi?
Kiambu County COVID Center.
Mambo yako aje pale? Unajua watu wanasikia hii corona wanafikiri ni mchezo. Iko aje?
Nakwambia ushaipatana na mtu anasema hii mambo ya corona ni mchezo ya serikali, and you feel like just slapping that person. Unajua ni vile kule kwetu ni kule isolation ward, huwezi ruhusiwa kupeleka mtu pale. Naweza shika huyu mtu mkono uende umuingize kule aone watu vile watu wanapambana pale na breathing complications. Corona is real. And Kenyans need to know that corona is real and the people are dying as a result of corona. So we need to take care, we need to observe the laid down measures. Yeah.
In your area of clinical psychology, what do you deal with?
In the area of clinical psychology, one, we have the patients who are COVID-19 positive. You know, testing COVID-19 positive, it's not a joke. People come with a lot of anxieties, and also there are people who also have underlying mental health issues, other underlying issues out there. So as a clinical psychologist, our work is to talk to these people to relax and also give them some hope in life. Together with the patients, we also handle their families. And also the families of, if we lose a patient, it is our duty to handle and support that family emotionally and psychologically. We also support the other healthcare workers, the doctors, the casual workers, everybody in the COVID center, because this work, dealing with the COVID, even as a healthcare worker, it's not easy. It is really traumatizing. It is so much overwhelming with the increasing numbers for people being hospitalized, increasing of numbers of deaths. So you find to some point it affects also the healthcare workers' emotional well-being. So it is our duty as psychologists placed in the hospitals also to support the healthcare workers psychologically.
Alright. Haya, so hivyo ndio unapatanga wagonjwa wako ni aina gani? Wale ambao wako na stress ya mambo ya akili nini. Haya Ojwang, Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
Amen.
Nasikia ulikuwa psychologist huko Amerika kabla hujafukuzwa, ama ulikuja peke yako?
Kwa hiari yangu.
Ulikuja kwa hiari yako? Ukuja kwa ndege?
No, I have a degree in psychology.
Wow.
But in America, you don't become a psychologist until you have a doctorate in psychology. It is professionalized. So not even masters. So at that level, I cannot call myself a psychologist, but at least I can say I have the basics, right? Being the first degree. And then I also worked as a primary treatment counselor. In a drug rehab called Life Treatment Center, I can't forget, for 3 years. Counseling, individual, family therapy, and talking about drugs, gambling, and addictions. The steps, the recovery steps. Led the groups, personal group, individual group. Discharge, a quarter house. By the time you have taken 3 months, you go to 3/4 house, and then you transition, doing drops, checking what drugs are there. So that, I think, is the relevant background to this. Thank you.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to be seen also by you.
Jambo ile kitu nakutanga ile kuna kulanga asubuhi uzimange tafadhali. Uzimange asubuhi mapema. Anyway,
ni ukalilala.
Na unakula kipora asubuhi mapema. Na ukoshua kuna mitishambo naongea. Alright, wacha tuanze na mambo ya mental health ya politicians. Unajua wanasiasa wanakanga they are the macho guys wanakuja wanatusiana mchana ni mnoma sana unaona. Is there things that these guys struggle with back at home? Do you think they enjoy an absolute peace of mind ama kuna vitu ambazo they struggle with even in their own space? Alafu nasikianga the way wanaiba. Hii pesa ya KEMSA. Ati mtu ameiba mabilioni ya KEMSA. Ama jamaa analanga vizuri. Usingizi inakuja ukijua saa hizi medical healthcare workers are dying because they are no PPEs and you stole the money or you stole the PPEs. Do you think watu wanalanga vizuri ama kuna shida za kiakili za zingine?
Let me tell you. Those are my first clients. Actually patients. Ukiangalia the political career, it has a lot of pressure. It has a lot of stress. Wanaweza kutokea hapa nje wakiongea, unaona wanakaa mababaru wale. Unaona wanakaa kukaa maisha mzuri. Unaona mwingine hata ana threaten wengine, I can even call the president direct. But pamoja na hiyo chocha zote, watu wana stress mingi sana. Wacha tu analyze mambo yao pole pole. Turudi kule uwanjani kwanza wakati wanatafuta kura. Unaona mheshimiwa ameenda ameuza ng'ombe yake, ameuza shamba yake, mwingine ameuza gari ya mama ama ya mzee ya mama ndio rais kuuza.
Unaanzanga na hiyo kwanza.
Sasa wakati ameuza hiyo yote
hiyo ni low hanging fruit.
Unasema zote tulikuwa tunatumia yangu.
Kabisa anasema nikiingia kule nitakununulia ile.
Nitakuupgradea.
Kabisa.
Wachana hii.
Mama anasema wewe uza hii. Bora si mimi ukiingia na namza unaingia mzee anasema hapa
hii ni yangu.
Hii ni sure bet. Sasa kule unaona ile eve ya kuamkia kupiga kura. Anaenda hiyo area anaambiwa mheshimiwa ataenda ulale. Kura ni yako. Wenda ulale. Ngoja uone matokeo. Just wait for the results tomorrow.
So ngoja tu matangazo ya IBC.
Anaacha ngunia ya pesa huko usiku. Wacha asubuhi yake ifike. Wacha ile za nyingine wanadudanganyanga hata kura yake imeibiwa. Akiangalia anaona hapa hata kura 2 sikupata. Na pesa ya ngari ya mama iko wapi?
Ilishaenda wananchi wamekula. Unasema tupe yetu twende.
How do you think that person will end up? How do you think will feel? Ata feel ile cheated na wale watu wake. Unaona? I hope mlango imefungwa niko safe.
Imefungwa kabisa. Tunapiga mbao.
You never know. Niliona something kwa social media kule Mombasa.
Yes.
Gavana Songo. Akona watu wake kule. Amelipia ile wananjipa raha Mombasa. Lakini kisiri wanamtimua.
Majamaa wanapiga kura.
Wanakula sherehe vinono kule. When do you think that leaves him? Do you think he's a happy man?
No, he's not.
Anabaki na ile a lot of bitterness. Sometimes some of them unapata wanaanza kutafuta revenge. Kidogo tu umesema mlango imefungwa na tuko safe.
Tumepiga kabisa.
Tuangalie Tangatanga team. Mlengo ya Tangatanga. Tuichukue kwanza. Sina ubaya na wao. What they are going through.
Yes.
They feel betrayed. They feel cheated. They feel taken for a ride. Taken for fools. Wengine wao zile roles walikuwa wamepewa kule mbungeni zilienda. Si ati ni discipline cases. Wewe unafikiri wale watu wanapata usingizi?
Hata kama si mimi singelala. Hata saa hii nisingekuwa nimelala.
Kiona rafiki yetu pale Mulkomeni akiongea. A lot of bitterness. And I understand him and I feel him. Unaona? A lot of bitterness. So when all these things happen, where does that leave our politicians? And let us not forget, these are normal human beings. They go through psychological challenges, wanakasirika vile sisi tunakasirika. Na wakati hii mambo inaendelea kutendeka, siasa ya Kenya ni mbaya sana. Sisi tunakuwa kwa siasa from January to January. Tunaenda election. Tukisema wacha hii kitu tumalize, tupige kura, tushike mambo ingine. Hakuna siku tunashika mambo ingine. Immediately after the election,
tunashika election nyingine.
Tumeanza election nyingine, tumeanza si impeachment, mtu ameanza kukampeni sasa ya 10 years to come. So we are ever in that politicking mood. And it is very stressing to them. Umesema pesa wanaiba ya KEMSA na kule kwingine. Unafikiria hata mwenye anakula hiyo pesa saa ile inanguzwa na committees zimeanza kuketi chini. do you think wherever they are wanapata usingizi?
Halali.
And I want to ask our politicians, how many of you mtu anaweza sema anapata adequate sleep?
Yes.
Akienda kwa kitanda analala. Kuna mwenye akinjiegelea kwa kitanda, kwa kichwa yake ndani ni BBI. Asubuhi inafika BBI. Hanjapata usingizi. Mwingine anaenda kulala, kwa kichwa yake anapigana na mheshimiwa fulani. Kwa kichwa anatetesha His Excellency President. Asubuhi inafika. And the lack of sleep is one sign and a major sign of mental health issues. President mwenyewe huyo nitafutie yeye, because mimi na feel nataka tuketi tujadiliane hii mambo.
Muuliza unasikia.
Si ya BBI. Mimi hapo kwa BBI kuna changu. Ni hii mambo ya emotional wellness. Yeye mwenyewe alikimbia akatoroka social media platforms.
Hapa alisema mlinitusi sana.
Unafikiria hiyo matusi ilikuwa inampa raha? Ilikuwa
inaingia kwa roho.
Angekuwa na enjoy, angekaa pale tuendelee.
Tuendelee. Kwa nini yako niache hizo accounts ziendeshange? Anyway,
sasa unaona pale. So you can imagine, unapata these people are going through a lot. But because ya hiyo status ya society, hata anashindwa ataanzia wapi kwenda kutafuta ushauri wa counseling. Mheshimiwa unapata amefika kule kwa gate, unajua watu wanakuaga kwa gari na driver, kuna bodyguard, sijui nani mwingine wanaenda naye. Badala ngoje security afungue gate, anasahau hao wako nao, yeye anashuka anaenda kusaba coffee, ule mtu wako pale kwa gate. Mpaka watu wanashindwa, kwani mheshimiwa leo ni nini? Anaingia kwa ofisi tu, anarushia secretary maneno. Why? Usiku hana usingizi. They have no peace of mind. Wengi wanaenda into anxiety attacks, depression attacks. And then again, being a politician, they always in the limelight.
Yeah.
Kila kitu yote wakidivorce, sisi tunawaona. Anjaribu kukatia mrembo ama akatiwe, tunawaangalia.
Ama ameze vitu anamezanga siku hizi kujuzi.
Sasa
unakula miss system inakwama.
Unajua hiyo vitu ingekuwa imemezwa na mbitoka, hata hii maneno ingekuwa mingi. Ingekuwa imeisha.
Lakini watu wangenimaliza. Wanamtafutanga sana.
Lakini sasa kama
nimesema tu nimezanga bana tu. Mbona hiyo kitu siwezi jaribu.
Hata swali ni kwa nini wameze? Sasa hiyo wanione. Unaona huyo ni patient wangu. Mbona ameze hii kitu? So you see what they go through. It gives them a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. But sasa kwa sababu ile kunjificha ya hiyo status yao, unapata they don't seek for counseling services, for emotional support services. But they are going through a lot. Yeah. A lot. Tuangalie mzee wetu. Mzee wetu sijui anaitwa nani?
Baba. Baba Bodbeck.
Jina ndio hiyo. Baba na hii BBI, nataka kuuliza baba. Yeye anapata usingizi? Na hii BBI akimagine hizo signatures zimetosha asijatosha.
Nasikia analalanga kwa kiti mchana. Labda usingizi yake ni ya mchana.
Kwa sababu siku hiyo usingizi haikuti.
Anahesabu kura.
Na sasa ile amelala hiyo.
Anahesabu signatures.
Anaona
zinapita hivi, ingine imechorwa kama ng'ombe, kuna jamaa alikuwa anaandika
jina. Anaenda kachora kifaru pale, anashindwa, are these guys serious? Yeye huku anapush BBI. Madaktari wanasema sisi tuna ngoma. Unafikiria kuna amani? Nataka kuangalia His Excellency President. Unajua yeye ako pale katikati. Si afurahishe baba, ni afurahishe
anko huku kando.
Sasa yeye anabaki pale with a lot of stress.
Yeah.
But who looks at who takes care of their mental health issues? Do they go broke?
Yeah, of course they do. Nasikianga na usually the one of them has been auctioned.
So what happens? Hii pesa enye alikuwa anapata ilienda wapi? Is it poor planning? Ni mandeni mingi? Ni aliingia ile raha ikawa mingi? And even when they go broke, you know, sisi tuko pale kuwanyoshea kindole. We have no sympathy for them. And they talk to any Kenyan, atakwambia wachana na wao politicians. Hao wametuchokesha, wachana na wao. Hii shida tunapitia is because of politicians. Which as a Kenyan I'll say, partly yes. But now when it comes to as a clinical psychologist, I look at what is that giving you displaced and sleepless nights. So it is a high time that even the politicians, together with the pride, together with the social status, they also need to start taking care of your mental well.
And seeking medical and psychological help.
Yes.
Ojwang, what are your thoughts on this?
On
what were you hearing? Issues of politicians.
No, I'm not interested in discussing mental health of politicians. I am not. Because those are antisocial behaviors. This is somebody who have pleasure in pain of others, or poor coping mechanism. So of course they come with all different temperament like anybody else. They have different challenges, but I don't find it easy to put mental health on crimes. So if you, as a lawyer also, so I'm conflicted. Those are, of course, they do mental evaluation before you are charged, right? Yeah. You can also plead a defense of mental insanity. So I'm able to look at them from that perspective, but not mental wellness in general. I think
you look at them as a case.
I feel that will be excusing some of the anti-behaviors or antisocial behaviors. So if they are struggling, seek help. They have insurance. Because I have to argue this thing within a context. In a context where somebody don't have insurance, have mental health situations, have terrible things happen to them, cannot afford food. So when I start talking of Uhuru's mental health, I feel like I'm teasing Kenyans. I'm laughing at them. This is somebody who can afford the best psychologist. He can call Dr. Phil to come talk to him. He can afford all other mental health he can. So I'm looking at it from the point of access. And I cannot transfer the empathy I have for the Mathare person or Kibera person to a politician. So maybe with that, let me say I'm not...
do you think these guys are happy? I mean, the way they come here, they look, they want to show us.
They want to show us a face. That's a theological question. That is a theological question. Happiness is really not a scientific thing. Though we can talk of some things that we could see. But happiness, then you can, if you talk to a Christian, you'll talk of true happiness. What is that? So that is a moving target. We can only talk of healthy or unhealthy coping mechanism from where we stand. Whether they are happy, I mean...
In fact, you don't want them happy.
No. I wish they are happy, but I don't know, because if taking Kemsa money make you happy, then
at least you can buy some happiness.
Yeah, who am I to tell you that they are not happy? There is one time, and I like this guy. There's one time we were discussing in our congregation. These rich people, they're really not sleeping. You are poor. Even if you take Panadol, you are well. Them, they have to go abroad. They're really struggling. They have anxiety. One rich person in the audience told us, those are lies you tell yourself as a poor person. I sleep very well. I'm happy. Money, I go buy things. I have balance. I have even better balance of life, happiness, and joy than you. So the assumption that the people who have money are more miserable might be poverty gospel. We don't know that. That they are not sleeping because they are worried about investigation. No. I think that is... So I'm not able to be apologist for them. We will talk of mental health, but not mental health of
criminals.
I don't know. I don't know how to help in this topic so far. But I'll find an angle.
Emily,
yes.
Let's talk about celebrities. Let's talk about a lot of things. Unajua fame inakuja, unaona wengi, nimeona juzi kulikuwa na mwingine alikuwa anafanyiwa harambe pale Thika, anasema I think TPF. The fame came in, they were so excited about the fame and all those things, and suddenly these things are not there, and they run into depression. Real depression, someone maisha yake inaisha, inapotea kabisa, from limelight all the way mtu anakuwa zero. Look at least, for instance, they come out of the villages, they go and run, they win billions of money. They come home, they cannot be able to handle the fame and other things. They want to move around, maybe drinking with cars to exert the authority that now I have money, or I have this and that. And then these things disappear. They become miserable. I mean, how do these people deal with these things? Where is fame? How do you balance fame? And what do you think? What do you think are some of the struggles that these guys go through as a celebrity cycle?
As you have put it, you know, sometimes we don't prepare them for the fame. And I will just take an example.
Yes.
You have said like somebody will go out there, win the Olympic champion. They come back, they are totally confused. They come back a different person.
Yes.
And a friend of mine was giving me an example of one of his relatives. He used to work as a prison warder. And then he went to Europe. And he won the world champion. My question is, from that humble background of being a prison warder, a police officer, you find in the society people don't even recognize you. Or maybe your colleagues.
Yes.
You won't hear your name being mentioned in any television or in any radio.
Mother Kwarambea village.
Hata kanisani labda hata hujaisalimiana. Then this person anapelekwa kule ngambo. Anaenda na win hiyo marathon. So they left here a nobody in the society.
Yes.
They are coming back here an international champion, a millionaire. So have you not confused that person? I'm not saying winning is bad.
Yeah.
But you find now when this shame and a lot of money just comes overnight, and they were not psychologically prepared for such. So you find for many, they come and they lose their identity. And now the championship, the celebrity name, it's what defines them. It's what they identify themselves with. You see, I lose who is Emily, and now start identifying myself.
The famous Emily.
As Dr. Love. And Dr. Love defines who I am. So I've lost my identity.
Yeah.
And I'm just a lost person. So I'll go with all the pleasures of Dr. Love and not Emily. You find some, if they had family, anarudi hapa anaangalia family anashindwa. Sasa hawa mafala nauliza na wao nini? You know, to them they feel I need to get a refined wife, I need to get a refined husband. And then again also fame as they climb up, they start distancing themselves from the friends they used to have. From the social networks who were close to them. Because anaona hawa si watu wa level yangu, hawa si watu wa class yangu as they climb up. What they don't know, ile timu umeenda kupata pale juu. They are only up there for business. We ukipata shida yako, hii kamati inakuanga ya mabiashara na deals. So when problem hits, you find they forgot about their social networks and the people who were close to them and know them well. So unapata ako pale juu, shida imeingia, marriage is breaking, wale wako kule juu anashinda na wao, hiyo ni watu wa deals, si watu wa kuongelelea mambo ya marriage. Financially they start going down, going broke, but up there you can't start telling those people you are broke because pale ile cream ulienda kuchanganyikana nao pale ni ya biashara. And then again, kama ulipanda kule juu kaingino kila mtu, when do you even start asking for help? So you find if somebody is an athlete, they have lost their identity, they have lost who they are, and it is that celebrity now, that championship. Sasa hiyo kuwa footballer is what now defines them, and they get lost.
And they struggle with it.
Then another thing is when you look at how is financial management as this fame comes. And I think for those people who are leading these teams, whether athletes, whether artists, these are very important component. Financial planning and investment. Unajua ile pesa inakuja mara moja. Na sasa mtu saa hiyo anajua raha sasa. Wacha niende Dubai, wacha niende wapi, wacha ninunue gari gani. By the end of the day, they don't invest any of it. So when they come down, unapata sasa mtu amerika ile level ya kuchangiwa. Hana chochote. So shame, guilt comes in. And some of them you find they even commit suicide. We have seen quite a number of artists committing suicide. We have seen quite a number of our athletes dying in circumstances of relationship complications and things you can't even understand. Because fame, if not well prepared, can take away your identity, and you become something else, even you yourself, you can't understand. Then this fame also comes with a lot of pressure, because there's the pressure from the fans. There's, if you is an artist, there's that your pressure, production, always conflicting with the managers. How psychologically are they well groomed for this? Because if that doesn't happen, then you find they sink into mental health issues. And when they start sinking them there, now tunaenda ile laini ya daktari hapa, alcohol, drugs and substance abuse. Anaingia huko na anapotelea huko completely, because the coping mechanism or the social networks who could have supported them waliacha kitambo. Yeah, they are not there. Yeah.
But you know, it's John Locke who said there's no friendship among people who are not equal. Okay? So somebody has become a mheshimiwa, he was your friend. For you to maintain that friendship,
you have to be,
or to lose that friendship, it's actually not just from their side, it's both sides. It will be my expectation that they are not able to meet. It will be their responsibility that will demand of them. Me, I want them to come for 6 hours nyamachoma. They are going for committee meetings. So to what extent can we have, you know, that athlete who have run, who now has money? You know, Africa, we are made of big families. All those friends, if you won lottery today, and then you are talking of sudden fortune, and then the unpreparedness that it creates, almost paralyzing the individual. But can we genuinely have, there are few cases, but can we genuinely have friendship among people who are unequal? You knew President Uhuru, you were his friends, you remained there maybe in primary or high school, and then you can be true friends. You know, because every time you meet President Uhuru, what will be going on in your mind? What you can get. Yeah. And then if that is going on in your mind, can you be having genuine conversation, heartfelt conversation as friends? You'll be talking of you need fee for your children and all that. So this network that the individual lose, you know, I don't know, as a counselor, if I made a lot of money and I lived in Kibera, who will you advise me to stay in Kibera or go to at least Ayang or Langata? I find people that now I can cope with. People who don't start from tunaomba na unga, because that's not now my problem. This friendship must solve some issues. Now we are people who are talking of how do we plan family vacation over December, because that is where I am. How do we now do ABCD in that level? So assume this celebrity didn't change their friends, or the friends changed naturally. That's what I'm trying to argue, I think. That the change is almost a natural process. So I remained there in the village, where now everybody is still relating with me, to me as a celebrity, and expecting a lot from me. I'm not able to give that. In the process, it will be blame game, because you'll never satisfy them. I have been in the village where one villager was complaining that he passed through the village market, and everybody said, but he can't talk to you, he has a vehicle. Then he had that. He had that. When he came back, he actually stopped. And they're like, so now why is he stopping? Oh, he wants you to see the car. I mean, you can't win.
True.
So to that extent, I look at what John Locke said, that you can never have true friendship among what? People who are unequal. It is fake, it is unnatural. Yes.
What I can say is that, you know, even in a village, you can't have everybody as your friend. There are people, even if you try to be their friends, they still be your enemies, because there is one trying to please others. You'll never please any human being. We have seen people who have distanced themselves away even from family. They are family because now their lifestyle has changed. here there are two things. There are people who are very close to you. There are friends who are very close to you. And not everybody is a close friend to you. And it's like, if today you won a Rotary, do you stop even saying hi to them? Do you even stop talking to them? And also, as you upgrade, yes, if you won a Rotary, I would advise you keep on staying in Kibera. You are upgrading in life. And also, as you upgrade in life, are you in that position and you have that ability to establish health relationships, health friendships? Because you see, some, you'll find I'm upgrading, but there's that icon I'm seeing up there, and I'll always go close to that person. And maybe that person doesn't notice me, but naenda kujisukuma kwa huyo mtu nikisema unajua mimi ni friends na let's pick one of the icons in artists. Let's say somebody like Churchill. Utapata kuna ule msanii mwenye saa hiyo ndio ameanza kukua, ndio ameanza kugrow. Yeye hataki kukaa na watu wa karibu na yeye, anataka kuassociate na that icon up there kama Churchill. Akisikia Churchill yuko mahali anakimbia, anaenda kushinda pale, but Churchill hata hana hiyo close.
Yeah, it's not personal. But then,
you see,
Daktari,
yes,
shouldn't we distinguish between friends and mentors?
Yes.
Because you see, a friend is social.
Yeah.
A mentor is somebody who has been where I want to go. All right? And I do some mentorship even in our school.
Wow.
And I have to tell our students that, okay, when I'm coming and when you come to me and we put you for other faculty to mentor you, don't just think of it as friendship. It's company. Well, I have this with my friends. I'm not seeing whether this mentor is giving me more value as my friends. There's a difference between a mentor and a friend. So that this mentor is where you want to go.
Yes.
This mentor has been where you want to go and can able to help you order things and inspire you to where you want to go.
Yes.
The friends is probably where I want to live.
Yes.
You know, or we are in the mud together. He's the guy who sit with me in the police cell and said, bro, we messed up. But I'm here with you at least. That is okay.
Yes.
And it has its place. But there is the mentor. So then, let us not be very quick to judge that if you see me trying to hang out with Chief Justice, go to his events, that, oh, look at Ojwang, he has left all other struggling lawyers here. And all these other, we call them Onyalobiro law firm, the small law firm. He's trying to hang out with the big law firm, Kinamed Nazir. No, I mean, I'm trying to be mentored. Onyalobiro ni mzitu hii ina naturally hata ipande. So you don't want to hang out with Onyalobiro law firm because that's where I am. I need to be mentored better.
Daktari, beside my point was being able to establish healthy friendships, healthy relationships. Because there are people who are not...
Enduring healthy relationships.
There are people who are not able to establish...
But that's a disorder. Yeah. That is a disorder, though.
Those who are not, yes. There are people who are not able to establish these relationships. Yeah. Because when you find somebody who can't establish these relationships, we want to go back to their childhood. How did they grow? How were they brought up? Yeah. Were they brought up by a parent that was not loving, a parent that was abusive?
The bonding and attachment didn't happen.
It didn't happen, and you find they couldn't. From there, they developed that issue. They can't trust anybody. They can't get close to people. So the question here is:
they run away.
Yes, they run away from others. They shy away from others. You come across people who have issues of self-esteem and self-confidence. So there is nothing about them they believe. Yeah. So they'll always seek for affirmations from other people. So when wherever they are going there for just to please other people, not to bond with the people.
That is the
so
line.
When problem now hits, they find themselves
that's the line. What I'm trying to do
own.
By playing a little bit of devil advocate.
Yeah, I know.
I know
and
what
you can play a good one.
It's a very good devil.
I know what people do, because when I went to my first psychology class, every diagnosis I was like, that is me. That is me also. No, that is now me. Really up on your many pattern. So I know how an untrained mind work. when they hear counselors talk. They do self-diagnosis and prognosis very quick.
Yes.
We are saying there's nothing wrong with it, only the extreme part.
Yes.
And that extreme is really extreme, that when it's there, you'll know it. So I just want people not to feel that if I have started my small comedy here, but I always go for any invite of Churchill, then I'm simply abandoning my gang. No. There's difference between mentorship and job and aspiration and the friendship.
True.
Thank you.
That is true.
And another, you guys have talked about that. Kuna kwanga na hiyo puzi ya ofisi where people think colleagues are friends. You know, like, oh, your colleagues are friends, you are this and that. Then tomorrow, people start fighting like, you know, oh, you betrayed me. Are there things like friendship in the workplace?
Let me mess it up before Doc come and
And sanitize it.
Yeah. And I don't know whether now I'm talking from theories of psychology. It might just be shooting from the hip. I think that people, you know, one, you spend most of your time in your job. Yes. So let us not underrate the happiness in the job. And if you don't have job satisfaction and you are not happy in your job, it will mess up every single aspect. You know, the kick, the cut, where you come from home and you kick the whatever and the maid, and then the child kick, abuse the maid. That coping, because you have been abused at your workplace. So let us not underrate that workplace happiness and workplace bullying is very bad. And that is a very common atmosphere in Kenya, where we think just because you're giving somebody salary, you can bully them the way you want. You can dominate them the way they want. And they need to take any other nonsense because, after all, I'm paying you. So workplace happiness. And you know, if you have those jobs that you are like, oh my goodness, it's morning again, I have to go, I guess. That is very sad.
Yes.
So that is part of your mental health. But again, on the other side, it is my view that you know, people have different expectation at work. I've worked in a place where some alert manager come and say, we are going to do gift exchange. Meanwhile, I didn't plan to buy anybody for Christmas. But you have been put in this pool. And you are told, and you know the person is going to spend money buying you a gift, so you kind of have to buy a gift. So now I am forced into this fake social. By the way, it is also part of mentorship. You know, I realize I've been in jobs where I only took an attitude that it's only a job. Those who kept hanging out with the boss a little longer, those who kept volunteering a little longer, those who kept coming a little earlier, the boss noticed them. And when we go for promotion, who is going to be promoted? Obviously, it's them. So if you go with an attitude that it's only a job also, it can be paralyzing. But I think my final comment is, let us have a clear work-life balance. That is assuming work is not life. But let us go with that. So assuming work is not life, you have life and then you have work. Have that balance. Because I've seen people who boss calls on weekend, they cannot have their family time or social time. Their identity is so wrapped with the job. That's the problem. You know, and that is a very unhealthy coping mechanism that Eddie talked about it, where you are a celebrity and now your identity is wrapped with that celebrity. You are nothing beside that you are a celebrity. You are nothing beside that you are a politician. You are not a person first.
Yes.
And if that goes, then there goes your world. And you don't know that even if you are a celebrity, or even if that is the job, if it's a big job, all these people who are driving you, all these people bringing you your coffee are not doing it for you, they're doing it for the office. And tomorrow you'll be the same person, and if you don't have that title, you will not get that. So I think that yes and no. But I've seen people who go to work, and now, because they didn't work in their family situation, you don't care about your parents. You have dropped your siblings along the way. You didn't marry and be married, if you are able to. Then all of a sudden you are putting this pressure with your co-workers. You want them to now be the people who hang out with you. They have families. You want them to be the people who now are your family. If anything come, you know you are my family. You want them even to be your church. This is too much pressure at work. Let us spread the risk. Have a social setting, have a church, have a family, have work, have the place you are coming from, whether you are from Dewa, have Dewa association, then you are an all-rounded person. But this thing, there is now a new diagnosis. It's called presentness. Somebody can never miss work. Even when they are sick, ati nitakimbia hospitali kidogo, alafu niingie saa tatu. That has been diagnosed now as a psychological misnomer, presentness. You must always be present at work. You are a human being after all. You can miss other days. And so I think that is the work-life balance that I would like to see. Fix it.
And also, I'm sure you've read Duncan Ojwang. The man of the phone stopped ringing and all that. I was also with someone over the weekend who was a CS, and he got kicked out. And when he got kicked out, the person who replaced him is a very close friend who they're working with. And that close friend who they're working with, and he used to mentor him, is the one who was now taking away the vehicle from him. And anachukua magari, anachukua security, anachukua nini. So he was telling me the story. I'm saying now, it's, government is quite a crazy experiment. Actually, let's look at it as a workplace environment. Where we sit here and we think we are the best, we are family, like Ojwang has said, and like, you'll be standing for my back, you'll hold my back. And then when these people don't do it, you get disappointed. Unaanza kusema people are fake, unaanza motivational speaking. People are very fake friends. It's only that we don't have the money that you need urgent. But anyway, so there's this conversation about you get in a place, the workplace, and I remember Duncan Ojwang was saying that earn your money and go home. Your colleagues are not your family, they're not your friends. And don't expect anything from them. Come earn your money and go home. I mean, you look at that tricky balance where we expect that maybe tomorrow if I'm fired, Ojwang will be there in my household, Daddy, Ojwang, they move on very fast. The new guy who's coming in, they'll be having Mnyama Choma with Ojwang already. They're forgetting about me. How do you have people balance this so that you don't get so lost in that environment that you feel that these are the people that the alpha and omega of your life?
A lot is going through my mind now, and I'll start by asking, if you are my close friend and we were working with you and something happened, you lost your job and I'm promoted to your position, do I say no, thank you, that position belongs to my friend?
No. Of course, you'll take it.
I'll take it. And you are not fired, your position ipewe Emily, but you exited. And whatever the mechanism they looked, they were like, I think Emily can take over this Bitox office. So now the question here is having those mixed reactions, and we don't know how to address them. My boss gave me your office. Do I resign and follow you home to prove to you that I'm a genuine friend? So what are the feelings as I take this office? There's a place I worked in, an NGO, and someone who was dear to us actually died. And people were being promoted to the office, and the people were like, nata njamaliza mwezi after azikwe. Do we close offices and they go home because our close friend, our colleague died? So again, it's also trying to balance and separate these feelings, because you went home. I was given your office. Do I follow you home to prove how I'm a true friend to you? If I take this office, do you feel betrayed by me? Was it my making to be given your position? That is one. Then the other thing is, do we have defined areas where we can get and make friends? Do we have defined areas? Like, you can only create friends in a church. No. So even at workplace, you can come across a person who you bond, who understands you well, and you bond with that person. Even after that workplace, you are still friends. Yeah. Why is this statement of people you work with, your colleagues, are not your friends? Not every colleague will be a friend. Yeah. And why does this statement come? Because there are people who have been betrayed at work. There are people who have been hurt at work. that I befriend you thinking I'm your friend and I will sell you out to the boss. And all these things happened. Kuna watu wanajua kuchimbia wengine kazi. Unaona? You are my friend, but na kuchimba ufutwe kazi.
Right?
That is different. But these things have happened. It doesn't necessarily mean at workplace you can't have friends. But again, I also want to echo what Daktari here said. At workplace, you also need to have that capability and the capacity to establish healthy relationships. You can't have enemies at work and you expect to work peacefully. You need to be able to develop that working and a friendly relationship. He talked about presentism, whereby somebody else is at work on daily basis, but look at their performance. The performance is not there. They are performing poorly, but they are the first one to come to work in the morning. So again, at workplace, we need to be able to establish those relationships that are healthy for us to have an harmonious environment to work at. To me, I would rule out that you can't have a friend at work because we do not have defined places and the social platforms where you can get your best friends.
Yeah.
So yes, you can have friends at work. And
your BBF, best friend for that.
Yes, you
and
can
also
have,
nasikia kuna watu wanaitwa workplace husbands ama inaitwa office husbands. Hao ndio wanadancing na mabibi zetu endi ya party.
No, you know you a human being. A human being is
Hata vizuri ilisi hakuna endi ya party. Nobody's going to dance with their wives. We thank God for God.
But you see again, people accuse the workplace husbands. And you know, workplace husbands are very smart.
It's really helping you.
Are very smart.
You are home.
Yes, are very smart because
They're the glue.
when you feel you have been used to this woman,
Yes.
hata akivaa kanguo kagani unamwangalia tu anatoka. Ule workplace husband anamngoja tu kwa gate akimwambia, that dress looks so good on you. And they don't forget to ask, did your husband notice? Na nikikumbuka naona hata hakusema chochote. So the workplace husbands know how to hit where you don't eat. Know what to say, what you can't say. They know how to say it.
So is it also okay for us to have a workplace wives? Kwa nini umefikiria sana?
No. Because sasa hapo iko shida. What I'm saying is like kule nyumbani tunza mtu wako vizuri, mwambie tu maneno tutama, hata akienda kuambua kule ofisini anasema even my husband, my wife mentioned it in the morning. But you see, there are some things we have no control over. You can't kill yourself there asking, does my wife have a workplace husband or does my husband have somebody at work? Do you have control over that?
And what will you do if you find out? So there are things you
are saying something
the devil's advocate.
No, but you see, no, what I'm saying is, you know, I'm looking at myself and African men.
African indeed.
Yeah, are very slow in giving verbal compliments, isn't it? That's general.
Yes.
Yeah, but when I look at the statistics, I look at the statistics and I'm seeing that generally African men get married longer than white men. So also respect these tools, because statistically these tools of mine have been proved scientifically that we divorce less and we stay married longer. The challenge I have, and please, this is just me talking in my weird mind, is that you know, I'm told, you know, compliment your child so that border guy don't compliment him. I'm doing that. Then now compliment your wife so that the boss don't compliment her. I mean, are you a child?
That becomes a competition.
Right. Are you a child that attention seeking? And of course, every human being, there's healthy ones. So I'm not saying that every time there's a time you feel low and you just want somebody to say, hey, you are okay. That is where we put a society. That's where society comes. You are not an island by yourself. But at the same time, I'm seeing an issue where when I bring roasted maize at home, they don't count that as romantic. That it has to be chocolate. Because somebody watched
Alejandro.
Yes. When I say now here, as we roast our maize and we eat and talk about
May love thrive.
about the silly days of the silly activities of the day, that is not romantic. Because I didn't come hiding some flowers behind on my back and chocolate that I don't even know how to pronounce or spell. That is now how. So there is the commercialization.
Yes.
There is the commodification. There is the thingification of love and expression of love. That somebody have expressed it, and it must be expressed in a certain way, and it has to have commercial value. So that I cannot come with
that
my
you're
own
protecting yourself
style.
from another one who can
Siwezi
express
cheza kama mimi. So if then, because the more the merrier. I am unique, but now I'm being prescribed and put in a box. To show love is to go buy chocolate, come with red flower, hide them in your back.
In fact, even after buying it, you need to hide it again.
Shout surprise. You know, it is so silly. But I'm not saying don't do that. Do them if it helps. But what I'm bemoaning is the shallowness and the one culture. So that the only way we can express romance is the Western culture. That there's nothing inbuilt within my Luo culture that can express. When I say somebody that, when I tell somebody you are my bicycle, oh, that's not romantic. You are my roses. So what is more important between a rose and a bicycle? You see what I'm saying? So then there is the silliness that, yes, let us be romantic, but let us have a broader perspective. Let us not judge in terms of amekuletea maua mara ngapi. Anileti by the way. Then it's not serious.
It's not romantic.
No. Yet when we sit with my wife and plan how to pay fee, what is more romantic about that? About for our child, and we go and pay it together. Look at romance.
When you stop by the roadside to eat mutura.
To eat mutura, we buy one maize cob and I break it for her, and we share. What is more romantic than that?
Doctor, my question is, when you are starting, where did you start? You know the question. Okay. The issue here is, there are those who want to start with the Western culture to please someone, but somewhere down the line, they change now to the African you are talking about. So things changed.
No, everybody grows.
You see.
Everybody grows.
Let us grow together.
Okay.
Let us change.
Right, not leave.
Leave nobody behind.
leave no child behind.
Okay.
Don't leave any stone unturned.
I can work with that. I can work with grow together. But let me ask you. You see, Bitok.
Yes.
Every relationship is at a certain place. When you are dating somebody, and you
that is a campaign time.
And you fail
that is a campaign time.
Right, and you fail to pay your rent because you are taking them to Mombasa. It is romantic. But when you fail to pay rent because you want to take your wife to Mombasa, it is reckless. You see what I'm saying? So love matures, responsibility matures, the relationship also matures. Don't be stagnated somewhere. So if I was coming with goody and with flowers and opening the door, then now we have our child who can open the door for both of us. Well, why can't we just accept that now this relationship have given us another helper? And what is more romantic if father and son sit, father and wife, as our child opens the door for both of us?
Actually, you talk about partners. He said about anapenda kuitwa na jamaa hapa amesema anapenda kuita pumpkin lakini anataka kuitwa malenge.
What is the difference?
Nasema nikikuita malenga unajam, lakini kuita hi my pumpkin. You're so happy. You know, this gender is very dangerous. You
see what I want to say here is relationships are unique. Your relationship will never be my relationship. And the bottom line here is communication and understanding your partner. You see, let no person come and tell me, you know, my husband comes and tells me he loves me, carries me around even in the presence of my children, and I'll feel huyu wangu ni Mwafrika hata haezi hata nikaribia watoto wakiona, and now I start feeling my husband doesn't love me. So the question here is, have I learned this man how he shows his gratitude, how he shows his love? Because the way we talk, you'll show love. It's not the same way Dactaria will also show love, will express their love. It will be quite different. But the problem is comparing. If a friend or if pastor's wife said this is what is being done to me. So I feel that is not being done to me.
So I'm not loved.
Then mwanaume ni fala, ni fake, he doesn't love me. So here it's about building your relationship, knowing that it is a unique relationship. Ukiona movie kule Arandra alibebana na akafunguliana mlango, I always remind people.
Sasa hiyo bibi yako ni maduong. Nataka kubeba kama Alejandro.
You also need to understand Arandro is acting.
Big people need love too.
We can only lift in prayers.
But can only love be shown through Beba? There are ways of showing
Doc,
love.
talk about this. Because I'm seeing people are going with the Luo standard and they are failing. Let us be honest.
Ujaluo ni gharama.
So, you find every Kenyan woman want to subject their Bantu husband to this Luo standard. And they fall short. If you married a Bantu, that express love within, don't adopt, standardize, internationalize, universalize the Luo standard for every marriage. That is where a lot of disappointment comes.
Express love kibantu. That is what daktari says.
Anasema hiyo ndio bad love.
Anasema kama wewe umeolewa ama umeoa mbantu, wewe pendana kibantu.
Yes.
Usilete hii nailoti.
Kinailoti
hapa.
No, there's learning, but I'm saying
what I want to say is like what you're saying, wanting to compare and do like so and so. Yeah. You know, one, people need to understand that how we were brought up informs a lot.
Socialization.
That was our form of learning, and will inform how we express our love and how we show our love.
Yes.
If my friend is dating a mzungu, niache kuja kusukuma mzee wangu juu husbands wa fulani na fulani anamfanyia hivi. Understand your partner. Get to know how do they show their gratitude. How do they express their love. There's somebody who will tell you a whole day, I love you 10 times. And there's somebody who would say, I love you, but they do genuine things to you than the one who keeps on saying, I love you. So also we need to understand what is the context of your relationship. What does I love you mean to you?
Yes. They call it love languages.
Yes. What does flowers mean to you?
Yeah. Even women who don't love flowers.
There are women who don't even love flowers. You see. So it's like, what do these flowers mean to you? What does the chocolate daktari is talking about mean to you? Na nikipata daktari yeye anajua siku ile anataka kuleta mapenzi kwa nyumba ni akuje na hiyo roasted maize. Na mimi naona nikiletewa chocolate ndio nitafurahia. So, how can I be able also make him learn I also love chocolate? Not in an offensive way and not demanding. You get it? But also I also want to understand daktari. Sitaki kumuuliza hii juu najua ni devil's advocate. Hii roasted maize hata wakati anaileta. Hata yeye anaileta aje. Inaweza kuwa roasted maize lakini kuja ina romantic
which is
you know, you see, I come with
bringing roasted maize is bringing roasted maize. Kuna style nyingine ya
kuleta. Hold on.
Wacha atafanya demonstration. Anasema afanyage practicals lakini
this could be my roasted maize. And then daktari comes with this roasted maize and he's like, utanibakishia. And then there's somebody who will come and say, hey, hi, I have some niko na kama
I have some grilled corn.
You
bring
garnished
attitude.
Yes.
Kwanza hata amekukatia kichwa. You know that in my culture the grown ups or the person you respect is the one who eats the bottom part. So you must understand where I'm coming from. And you must understand my gesture just as much as I also have to understand your gesture. Maybe I think I'm just bringing an example, but I'm just giving a general message. So example cannot be so exact. And then of course I'm not saying that chocolate is no good or bring roasted maize. I'm just pushing this point maybe too far. But I'm saying that you know, the universalization, the standardization of what love is and how to express it. Sometime alienate other cultures and push some cultures. So that Mzungu will not come and say, how do I express love in your way? They will know they have the script. They will go to a supermarket and pick red roses and a flower and bring. And then they will not feel they are inadequate because they are expressing what they know and how they know it. But when my father think about it and ask my mother, where is that nini tupa ya kupiaka panga? Nobody see romance here.
Is there any romance there?
Huh?
Is there any romance there?
It could be. It could be.
You're not sure where it is there. All right, let's talk about change. I was hearing some conversation among old men the other day as well. I think last weekend. And they were saying, people struggle a lot with calling the wives maybe my darling. So in our communities, tunasemanga haya ndio huyu mama. So mtu anashindwa ni mama yako ama ni mama ya nani. So you're referring to your husband, to your wife. It's not difficult to say my wife, my dear wife and all that. So there's a man who was saying they went for a conference. In church ile wanaume male conference. Then wakaenda kufunza venye yani ushike mama, useme hi sweetie, hi darling, nini, good to see you. Those things. Venye nafama lavidavi. But this guy comes home, anaelekea mama nataka kuact direct. Hey darling, hey, bibi alileta shida mpaka karibu ndoa iishe.
What do you expect?
You umetoa wapi? You umejulia wapi? So we talk about change. How do you balance? Because how do you introduce changes into your marriage? Or into your relationship?
Incrementally. Let me mess it up before Doctor. Because she's the expert. One, if you have gone to a seminar and you have learned, like you said, to hug, don't just do things. Tell the other person.
Don't just come and hug a person.
Tell the other person that, I went to this seminar and it come out that hugging is one way of expressing love. So in the count of 3, I'm going to hug you to demonstrate the love. Prepare the other person, because the other person is not in the seminar, isn't it?
In the count of 3.
1, 2, I come. Ready or not, I come. So you must prepare the other person. Yeah, and that is the problem, because you will also be disappointed. You are like, I've tried to hug her, she's not huggable, but it's because you also didn't communicate that this is a good thing. I don't think anybody will disagree if you explain that in that seminar for the 2 days, all we were doing is how to express love to you guys, and this is how I'm going to do. So that is where the trainer didn't tell them, don't ambush people with these things. Number 2, as you even express love, and this is where family life in most churches, in my view, have simply failed. They have simply become copycats and Xerox machine, and they are copying from not very good examples always. It is simply transplant I'm talking about. Somebody have read somewhere, this is how you can hug your spouse, and then copy it directly. It is just one way, but we have people who don't have much rigor, even as they are called counselors. So all they can do is look at the SMV manual and say, and therefore there is nothing. The rest ni myths, the rest ni anxiety. Those are now taboos. That is lack of education or miseducation. And there's a lot of miseducation of people masquerading as counselor and whatever, because it's the easiest thing to fake. Secondly, or finally, I think that, context, the law of decency, or even public show of affection is within context. In one context and one culture and one value, this can be acceptable. In another one, it might not be. There is nothing written in stone that the only way to express love is to sit together in every church function with your wife. So that those pastors, naive iwafikie, who disrupt service in the middle of the service, na kusema, kila mtu tafuta bibi yako, and somebody labda yuko huko na watoto, somebody yuko kaini pamoja, because hiyo ndio mpango ya Mungu. Ulisoma wapi? Ulisikia wapi? You see what I'm saying? It is almost copycat. There is no creativity there. So that at sasa we have children, some wanabebwa, wengine wanapelekwa class, I have people I sit with, maybe new converts, but now to show love, I must look for this wife of mine. Forget kuna watoto, forget kuna nini, forget amekaa mbali kidogo because mtoto analia, ama nimekaa mbali kidogo because mtoto analia. Ati sasa, so that we meet the law of kukaa pamoja. I think there is oversimplification. There is upusilization of how we express this thing. It is the theme, the context that matters, not the exact. I know of white people, and I lived in the US for 13, 14 years. They always stay together. And then tomorrow they are gone. They have divorced. Even in small things like, baby, you no longer laugh at my jokes. You know, by the time an African divorce is serious thing, umenikata na panga. You know, it's serious stuff. Those people, you no longer find me funny. So I'm going. Fix it.
Now that he has messed it up, it's your time to fix it. Yeah.
This one. Now we go back to the seminar, and I won't mention a lot because he really picked it up.
Yes. Do you know what it means to go and start something new?
Let me tell you.
To go and say, now my lovely wife. To hug. Hey.
Whether it is hugging, whether it's a new style, whatever it is, there must be communication.
Yes.
And you need to see how to bring it up, because if you have never hugged me, there's no way you are coming to hug me.
Hata kama ni story mpya unaanza kwanza.
We need to talk. Like in this seminar, unajua hii seminar tulikuwa huko, walikuwa wanasema unavaa hug, bibi anavaa hug mzee. What do you think about this hug? And do you think we can even try it, tuone hao watu walikuwa wanasema aje? See how to bring it, but not just from the blues. Otherwise you'll be divorced. You see, like people, there's this joke which sometimes was going around, that women also went for a seminar somewhere, and they were told, exchange phones. The phone you have, just text the husband of that person, that woman, I love you, darling. Unaona wazee wanasema, what have you done now?
Ama unataka nini? What do you want?
Because he's not used.
Ama anajibu anasema, I don't have money today. I'm sorry, I don't have money today.
Hata anashindwa hii message ni yangu. Because he has never been called that. You have never texted him that. So any change needs communication as you come to introduce it, and also get the views of your spouse. How do they feel? How do they feel about it? And as he was saying, like, amengonga watu wa kanisa. Anyway, what I want to say is, like, when you look at the church context, when it comes to relationships, it's quite silent, and we go by the Bible verse, that the Bible says, wives, you need to submit to your husband. Husbands, you need to love your wives, and it ends there. One day I was having a conversation with with a friend who is a pastor, and I was asking him, now, Bwana Bishop, if tomorrow a man comes to you, unajua wako na hizo siku wanaeka za service, za kuona mtu peke yake, mashida, mwenye ako na mashida private. So somebody walks to your office and says, you know what, Bishop, for the last 1 month, or for the last 2 to 3 months, kwangu sipati conjugal rights. My wife amekataa completely. Mzee wangu hata aninguzi kabisa. So I asked that pastor, where do you start with that? Will you start kutafuta wa Korintho wanasema nini, ama Romans chapter Genesis walisema nini? Hautapata. It is not there. You get it. So sometimes, like Dr. is saying, it's not just a matter of opening the book, whatever it is, DSM-5 or it is the Bible, pick just some writings there and you start applying them. We need the context, live about the content, but also the context of that. Because when it comes to issues to do with relationships, it's quite a big issue. Na hapa unapata pia pastor wanapata shida. Because imagine sasa daktari hapa ni mchungaji. And then this wife comes and they start crying how dry spell hiko, mzee ni nguzi ni. How you not changing this man of God? Because
pastor na anaona hii kinyaija.
Anashindwa. Sini undumie roho na mwili yote pamoja.
Nishugulike na usijali, niko na dawa.
Useme na tumsifu Yesu Kristo njoo umemuundumia ile wholesome.
Yes, all cell.
You see. So again, how do we handle these issues? If you are a church leader, if you are the pastor, how do you handle these sensitive matters to do with with the relationship? Is it just unajua Waefeso inasema Waefeso is not helping?
Hakuna maneno ya Waefeso hapo. Kwanza mademo siku hizi hii makanisa papa and mama. Ukimkatia kama beni anaanza kuambia I need to go and talk to papa first.
I need to go.
Hii story lingiela
Papa is
the pastor. Pastor anaingilia hapo maneno ya kukatia.
Bibi anakimbia anaenda anaambia pastor, nataka maombi. Shetani alikuja kwangu yeye mwenyewe hakutumana. And the pastor unajua akisikia hiyo ndio anaketi vizuri.
Anajua it's about to get interested.
Anaambia pastor hakutumana. And why do you think, what do you think this wife is reporting? Msenjana alikuja na ka video. Hiyo sijui wanaita pornography. Hata pastor nimekuja na hako ka video. Nataka tuikemee.
Tuiangalie tukiombea.
Na tuiombea.
Wanaangalia na bibi yako.
Sasa wanaiangalia. How do you think it will end? Sasa hapa tunakemea pastor.
It will end with a testimony.
Of course.
Anaiangalia as evidence. Evidential value.
All right, guys, there's something I want to, before Ojwang, I don't want to give it to Ojwang this one first to mess it up. So I'll give it to you first, then Ojwang can now mess it up, then we see how we can rescue it. The issue of unaccepted grief, you know, in the society, are things that society expects you to deal with. Kuna vitu ambayo inafaa useme. Unajua zingine bibi anakuja amekasirika na mjapiga na kelele. Unashindwa na nini? Kumbe amekosana na boyfriend yake. Anakuja anakuleta how do you do these things? Ama bwana amekuja amejam nini kumbe amekosana na mpango wa kando. So how do you deal with these things? Sasa leo umekosana na girlfriend yako kwenye unaendaje nyumbani unakaa?
Sasa hapo we talk. Wacha nianze ndio.
Yes, ndio achafu. Alafu rudi na usafishe.
Unajua hiyo ataharibu kabisa. I want to, if you allow me, I just need to bring about 3 scenarios.
Yes.
Then sasa Ojwang achafue. Tunajua hiyo ndo kasi yake. The first scenario, tuko mpango ya kando. We have this gentleman who has a mpango wa kando nje pale.
Yes.
And you know sometimes what people tend to, I don't know whether ni justification ama ni defense mechanism, people tend to think in any relationship mwanaume ako nayo pale nje there is no love. Ni tu is just using that lady. But to me I want to say there are some relationship out there where that man may be even more comfortable.
And happier.
Nisirushiwe mawe sisemi wanaume waende nje. Maybe comfortable.
Easily board ni ya chuma.
Out there. Unaweza pata mwanaume anapenda ule mrembo wa kule nje, si ati ampendi, si ati anamtumia but anampenda. So it happens mrembo haage dunia. How does this man, or how will this man mourn this lady? Ataenda kwake kusema nani alikufa. Take for example, kuna wanaume wako na watoto kule nje.
Yes.
Bibi anjui, lakini unapata hata mandugu zake wananjua ako na mtoto.
Unasikia mtoto ni
na ule mtoto kule nje ananjua huyu ni babangu. Hata weekend anakuja anapeleka mtoto out, anasomesha huyu mtoto. Na mtoto ananjua ndadi yangu ni fulani.
Ni Ojwang.
Then this kid dies. Ni wa mpango wa kando?
Ama ni mgonjwa?
Twende kwa kifo. Dies. Huyu mwanaume kama baba huyu mtoto ako supposed kuwa fully involved kwa planning and arrangements ya burial ya huyu mtoto. Hata akienda kwake atalia mtoto amekufa na watoto wa bibi wako wote.
Mtoto wamejaa, hakuna mtu amekufa.
How will this man mourn this kid? Tuachane na mwanaume na mpango wa kando. There are men who date other men's wives. Ukweli ama uongo?
Kweli.
Kuna wanaume wako na mahusiano na mabibi ya wenyewe. And sometimes unapata huyu mwanaume, wewe utaweza fikiria ni mjinga, but anapenda ule mwanamke. That woman dies. Kule kwa chukua mapasta na wafanyabiashara wanajua bwana ya huyu mbibi ni bitok. Ojwang anakuja
so mimi nalia hata Ojwang analia.
Hata anakuja kulilia wapi? Asipolilia huko kwa fence.
Tumie technical people as examples. Let's make use of the technical team bench.
We can use this one. We can use because you are visible. We can use it.
There are men who go to an extent.
Person X. Yeah.
Or having a child with that married woman. Na saa ingine bibi wiba huyu mtoto weekend anapeleka. Mtoto anjui huyu ni baba anajua ni ango yake. But huyu mwanaume ako na attachment na huyu. Na huyu mtoto. Alafu bibi yaage ama wakosane na huyu mwanamke. Na kule kuna mtoto sasa uwezi enda kwa ndo unapata mashamba tu mzee twingine tunalewa tunakuja kutukanana kwa gate ya mtu kila siku tukipita tumlebe njoo anajua hiyo mboma kuna mtoto wake
wasengenge
na hawezi ruhusiwa kuona huyo mtoto. So the question here is all this lady akona boyfriend wanapendana sana na ni bwana ya mtu. Then this man dies. How does this even lady go kwa hiyo mazishi? Na unajua kiafrika mpaka uweke mchanga kwa kaburi ndio kusema kwa heri and you put a disclosure to that. Na ukinipata nikilia unasema na wewe ulikuwa unaulizana nini na mzee ya watu.
Unalilia nini?
Si huyo ni bibi ya mtu, wewe unalilia nini? But now where I'm coming in as a clinical psychologist, this thing is affecting this person. This person has lost somebody close to them, someone dear to them. Mwanaume amepoteza mtoto, yeye ameifiwa na mtoto. Watoto wa bibi wako hawezi enda kwake kusema kuna mtoto amekufa. But this
naweza sema analia nini? Ama anapanguzia machozi kwa mlango.
Naweza sema analia nini? Akiwa huko hata simu anapigiwa, sasa mwili ilipelekwa mochari, atasema mwili ya nani? So, ametulia tu hapa. How does he even mourn this death? And does the society allow such a person to mourn? Ama anaanza kukashifiwa, sasa wewe unaenda aje kusaa mtoto na bibi ya mtu? Bibi ya mtu ulikuwa unaulizana naye, wewe unjuangi huyu mwanaume ni bwana ya mtu? But the fact remains, yes, ni sawa ni bwana ya mtu, but I'm mourning. I've lost somebody very close and very dear to me. So how are you telling me not to mourn?
Let's talk about mpango wa kando wasichana pia. Sema wewe una date bwana ya mtu. Alafu usikie kesho labda amevunjika mguu.
Ako hospitali.
Ama ako hospitali nini? How do you deal with this?
How then do you
unakuja unapata bibi hapo, unakuja kwa asongi, hapo tu kando kitanda.
Na mimi nataka kumuona. Nimeleta ile chocolate ya ndani. Nataka kumuona and the wife is there. But I'm worried. Mtu wangu bwana, my sweetheart. Mungu imeanikwa huko na siwezi ingia kumuona.
Kasi Ojwang is very deep thought.
Such a thing now comes with depression because I never mourned for this person. Nikipita najua mwanaume anajua mtoto wangu wako kwa ile mboma. Wewe enda kuclaim mtoto kwa mboma ya mwanaume mwingine. Na hata ule anjui mtoto si wake. You see now such a situation, they'll affect people. Community will throw stones at you, will condemn you, but the fact remains, I've lost someone close to me, and I'm mourning. Acha Ojwang achafue.
Ojwang, I can see you are in a lot of thoughts. Is it affecting you?
No, well, what you guys are discussing is very important, but very remote. Chances of those things happening.
But do they happen?
It might happen, just like chances of us being hit by lightning now are there, but very remote. You know, I think even in my psychology,
They're not remote. I have an experience of someone, a lady who lost someone's husband. And now she has to mourn. She cannot go to the burial. She needs disclosure as well. So
I'm interested in usually what we call not universalization, but relativism. Because I've seen, for example, in Western Kenya, there's no issue there. Because in my culture, everybody who come to mourn, even if you know they are the ones who killed the person, you have no right to tell them they cannot mourn. Because you know we have great and inclusive mourning mechanism in my community. It is very. In fact, you can even stop by when people are mourning. You don't know this person and mourn.
Just come and scream.
Yes. If you have a lot of stress and you mourn, you remember your loved ones, but you mourn seeing the body so that people don't think you are crazy. All right, and that's because I was asking.
So if you are stressed, you look for the nearest body.
No, I was asking somebody how are you able to there's one we went and this person was not the closest relative, but he outdid everybody by crying. And he told me, by the way, I was just remembering also my mom who had died. So I was mourning for two. Those are very healthy coping mechanisms because there is denial. You know the stages of mourning, right? And that's what she's saying, that if you didn't go through those stages of mourning, acceptance, denial, anger, and all that, and you didn't walk them, they will affect you. So I don't think those problems happen in central Kenya, where you find somebody have even grandchildren, but the family does not know, right? But if you come to Western, those are very small problems. In most of the Western Kenya funerals, you find some suspicious people. Is it true, Jemo? And they are usually called to speak. Of course, it's true, Jemo is lying here. You find in most of the Western Kenya funeral, the people around the coffin are not just cousins, aunts, or people who look like they bereaved. There are some suspicious people there. And usually the mass of ceremony is very good. Are there friends? And they take long around that. Are there any friends? Yeah, Jemo, I'll miss you, Jemo. It's fine. It's permissible. So we have very inclusive funerals. I don't think there will be a problem in those regions I'm coming from. In fact, we have rainbow funeral. You find dark people by the coffin. You find lighter people by the coffin. You find people you can put question mark. Or this was one time my boss. But let me say something. And you find he or she has friends bringing them up. So those are not big deals. But when you go to other cultures where things are hidden, yeah, that's the reality. Just because it has not been written in books, don't think I'm not just, these are not things I Google from internet. I'm talking of my intuitive mind, and as a psychologist who have also read psychology, you go to places like Central where people hide. And that's why I was saying somebody has even grandchildren in this relationship, but nobody knows. Very different from my place where somebody forces this sitting and say, prepare, you are going to meet your sister-in-law, or I'm bringing the children. Like in Western, you can't deny children. So let us talk in particularity. That will be a problem then in those places, because there is the strong push of is an husband to one wife, and we force that narrative. Right? We want to force that narrative even where it does not fit, and that's why we have court injunctions and we have messy burials. But when you have inclusive burials, I mean, everybody who come here, you know, when I buried my father, I thought I would be put to sitting by the front side. Everybody will be talking, looking at me. I realize I'm just one of the mourners here, boy. I mean, among the nobody refers me in every sentence to the family. In fact, I was so much seated in front, somebody told me, no, go to the back. Kidogo. Yes.
You became a relegated
mourner. It was a reality. It really hit me. That this guy, my father, had his cousins who are coming on their own rights as cousins, not because of family or through family to the first family. No, they are mourning their cousins. Had in-laws who are coming as in-laws, period. Had children who are also like us, who are coming because we are children. Had wives who are coming as, had colleagues, had workmates, had his best friends. And each and every person have a role. So this, and that's why I'm talking of culture. This Western view where the focus is not in the coffin, it's in the first family, whatever that means. Or to the first family. So, of course, so the Mpango Kano is missing being called the first family. But those are empty focus. Those are artificial focus. This person has died. He has all this relationship. He was a living organism who made friends, enemies, who had all these friends. Their friends are coming to mourn. That's why I'm thinking the problem we are solving is a little bit academic.
Yeah. Hi. Ojwang, even I'm not saying you have one, but if you have a girlfriend, no, and you have to go home and you're upset and you're angry, how do you deal with it?
I don't understand the question, and I don't see the value of that question, because why does it have to be a girlfriend? Let's just say even my boss is stressing me.
Yes.
Should I take that to the home? Isn't it? It's the same thing. So how much do you have a barrier between your stressor and any other challenge as an individual? You see, for example, in my family, my wife really get upset when she realized that I was going through a difficult time and didn't share. She feels that is lack of trust. I'm thinking I'm being careful and protecting her.
Not
right?
drama, yes.
Yeah. But because I feel that I imagine that I'm maybe tougher. I imagine that maybe I can take more, and so I don't want to load that stress. But for her, she feels like that is mistrust. I'm here to support you, and we need to support each other. So there is the balance there. And so I'm not just talking of whether it is the stress from whatever, mpango, whatever. That is not really the point. I'm saying that is there a place where I'm going through a hard time at work? Do I have to always sit my wife and tell her, baby, that boss is on it again? Or I swallow it and say, this is my stress. I don't want to transfer to people who love me. and then stress them further. So sometimes it is protection out of love. But I don't think that, you know, a human, an organism, there are two approaches. There are people who, and we are told, let your spouse be your best friend. And I agree with that. But I think that also marriage is so complicated that you cannot expect your wife to again be your pastor. It has its own stress. You cannot expect your wife to be, you know, those are all served by many people. Have friends. There's nothing wrong with having friends, confidence, have marriage, have kids. Everybody is functioning in their own place, and it is for all of us. So me, I encourage my wife to have very close friends that she can feel free to go and talk about me. Because if I'm the problem, I don't expect you to talk about me, and that is unfair. If I'm all over your face every time that you cannot talk, yes, talk to me, but also have friends that you can say, you know, this big-headed guy, I felt like killing, but Holy Spirit caught up with me. That is healthy coping mechanism. So there's that balance, but I think sometimes we narrow and bring into the marriage and the spouse every other problem. I think there is diversification. I think there is different help from different angle. But I don't see anything unique if you have a stress that maybe you say this one, I don't know what to do with it. Is there a place where if this person lost somebody, let's say that child, that you cannot show up? Because then we are now answering a smaller question. The real question is, if this is your child, are you in their life? Because people live before they die. I assume. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they die first. But I assume that usually people are alive first before they die. And I also assume that they are alive for a longer time before they die. So then, the issue is not how are you hiding, mourning this child. The issue is, have you been genuine? Have you been a real father to this child? Because this is a human being. This is a living organism. If you are hiding them as a chattel or a thing, then are you being fair? If your family don't know them, if you cannot talk and reach this child, are you guys living a lie? And is that fair? Again, I finish by saying that parenting and parentage and child upbringing in Africa, I come from the school of thought of it takes a village. It is not just biological. I don't think it is so much biological, it is social. And so, don't feel bad to go to a funeral where people ask you, by the way, how do you come here? How do you come here? I think that is very, 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 very narrow. If now you called me and told me, Ojwang, can you take me to mourn my friend? I will go, I don't know this friend, but I will stand at the coffin and pray, isn't it? Am I pretending?
Or try to cry.
Am I pretending? No. I'm not pretending. I'm just here in that capacity and in that context that a sad thing has happened. What is so unique? Must I write a CV on how I relate with the bereaved? I think that's too artificial.
I tell you.
Emily,
let me say that, you know, people are unique, and there are people who are secretive. There are people who feel because of some certain situation, they may not come forward and they say, look here, I have these people here, or I have this family here. But the key issue here is getting a way round on how to handle your distress, how to handle that mourning for it not to affect you in future. And as Ojwang was talking, I remembered people hired somebody they found somewhere wa matatu wawapeleke Mbari or somewhere. Na wakamwambia hii hata ikai tegea hapa uturudishe. I know that this guy akakaa kwa matatu akaona si hata mimi ni binadamu. Acha nichanganyike na the other mourners. Yes. Sasa ile mwili ilitolewa, this guy screamed, alilia mpaka yani anapewa tissue. So when he cooled down, somebody asked, one of the mourners asked, hey, nani kwako?
Sorry for your loss.
Yes, sorry for, alikuwa nani kwako? Akisema hata simjui. Hata yeye anauza nani alikuwa amekufa huko. So you see, it's what Ojwang is saying. Because, and when he was followed, it's like, when his mother died, they were not in good terms with the mother, and the mother kept on calling for him to come, and he never went to see the mother, and the mother died. So you see, he was left with that guilty. So he never dealt with that guilty. So to him, in this burial, he got a chance to mourn,
to revisit his mourning.
To revisit his mourning. And I like the Western culture. If you can go and finish your unfinished business in someone else's burial, then well and good. The issue is having it, carrying it day and out. Ndio unaanza kusikia mtu akisema, unajua jana hata niliona fulani, na fulani alikufa 5 years ago. Hata alikuja akaniambia, and people wanaanza kutafuta vile utaombewa, thinking unaanza kuona mashetani. But it's because you have unfinished business na kifo ya huyo mtu.
Unfinished emotional business.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfinished baggage.
Give me your final remarks as we funga.
We have talked quite from politicians where Ojwang felt that they should not empathize with them. And that is a crime to empathize.
For that point, he was not the devil's advocate.
For that one, alikuwa mkali sana.
For a minute.
Yeah, but to me, I'll still say, together with their corruption and whatever they are doing, together with the BBI, whatever they are doing, they also have mental health issues, and it's good to take care of their well-being. We have also looked at issues to do with celebrities and issues to do with the relationship. The key issue here is creating awareness towards mental health, because when you look at it, there's that huge gap when it comes to people being aware on mental health issues. Somebody is going to depression and they have got no slightest idea what this is. So again, and also watching your close people. If you see somebody has started distancing themselves, they're just there. You call them, you look for them. Every time I want to be left alone. Every time I want to be left out. It's also good to look out for each other and see if somebody starts behaving in a way they never used to behave, then it's always good to check and say, are you okay? When it comes to relationship issues, as Ojwang was saying, we are all different. We have been cultured different. We have been brought up different. Don't copy other people's relationship, other people's way of expressing love. Just be you. Understand your partner, and work what works for your partner and what works for you, not what you have seen other people doing. Otherwise, I'll say thank you so much for having me on board.
Most welcome.
I've really enjoyed myself, and especially
Ojwang.
Yeah.
It's never boring. It's never a dull day. It's never a dull day. All right, good to see you. Welcome again. Karibu tena anytime. We'll be having these conversations weekly, but we can make it a better place. Najua kuna topic moja tumeacha, maybe we'll pick it up next week.
Thank you.
Ojwang.
Yeah, the only thing that made sense for me in my class was a topic called wellness. And it was how different culture define wellness. You know, for an African, until you see me in the hospital, I am well. All right? So that's our definition of wellness, is that I'm sick, I'm infirmed, I'm in the hospital, then I'm not well. I think there is the better definition in my view, because you see, there's nothing wrong with borrowing and adopting what is important. When you find how people from Western define wellness, it is broader. And it allows them to go for evaluations. It allows them to go for checks. It allows them to talk and confirm that things are okay. You don't just go there when everything has fallen apart. So go early intervention. I also think that the issue of mental health is very important. In fact, as I discussed with a lot of colleagues, we realized, oh my goodness, so that person we thought was this and this kind of a person was really sick and needed help or just understanding. So, you know, let us not fail to empathize and understand that it is real. It is just as real as the ground we walk in. People are have different mental health issues. Some are temporary. It's not the issue of stigma. Let's not judge.
Yes.
Because that is what makes people afraid. I come from a view that when I look at the mental health evolution in the US, where they moved from institutionalization of mental patients, lobotomy and all those where they were turning them to zombies. They have accepted that they need to cope and live with people. Let us be watchful and let us always look out for each other, because finally, as I finish, I think that when we talk of mental health, it is very comprehensive. We even have behaviors, we have drugs, we have difficult time, especially this difficult time like now. Cut each other slack. To me, I think that is very important. Let us learn to cut each other slack, to excuse each other. You have disappointed me, but I'll give you the benefit of doubt. Let us be not very tough with each other, because people are going through very difficult time with this COVID. And therefore, let us just cut each other slack, give each other benefit of doubt, and let us ask, are you okay? And you see, that are you okay be not just for greeting. Hey, sasa, niaje? You know, you don't even before, it is, are you okay? And don't just accept yes or no. Demand for an answer beyond, are you okay? Sio ile ya kupita pita yes, no. Demand for an answer beyond yes. Where are you at this time? With all what is going on? Where are you? Try to find each other and try to find where this person is mentally, physically, psychologically, socially, especially at this time. That is what it means to check on each other. It's not just calling and then you come with all your BBI story for 30 minutes. Before I know I was depressed, yes, I might laugh a little, then I go back to my depression. Really find out where I am. Try help each other. You know, I like what Africans say. There's a community that says, I am okay if you are okay. Meaning, nobody's okay if others are not okay, especially people close to you. Find out. Be with them there. You might not have the right word to say. I've done diagnosis or looking at the suicide level, for example. When now somebody have a concrete plan, you know, it has come from just thought to I actually want to do it and this is how I want to do it. You know, that is very late stage or very serious stage of suicide. Let us, you know, as Kenyans and Africans, we like to laugh and make comedy out of things. But even as you do that, find each other help. Go to church, find a counselor. But again, not everything is a mental health situation. Some are just thieves. Politicians are just stealing, bwana. Hapo hakuna mental health. That is the danger of rigging mental health on everything. Sometimes I think we overgeneralize. Asante.
All right.
Bitok, allow me to say this. It just crossed my mind as Ojwang was saying. You know, there is the greeting. How are you? If anybody asks you, how are you? How will you say, I'm fine? By
default.
But the question here is, are you really fine? So to me, I think it's the high time to answer to change his salamu. If you ask me, how are you, and I'm not okay, let me not say I'm fine for the sake of his salamu. Inajibiwa hivyo. If you are not okay, kindly talk to somebody. Don't suffer in silence. Talk to someone. Open to someone and you get help. Rather than committing suicide or going to kill someone else. Let us talk to each other. Open up and you'll get help.
All right. Thank you so much. And the guys who have been watching, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much our guest Mutheu and Ojwang. Asante sana kwa kuja kutuambia kumbe ulikuwa uko professor wa mambo ya akili pale America na madili na wazungu. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us. This is a tackle, and the tackle ends now. If we see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.